Tanvi, who, can you
I
let
know
her
I'm
audition?
crying. I'm actually tearing up. I don't know why.
She's like, she loves Shakespeare. Can she audition? And she listened to me and she remembered that I love it. And then the casting director looked at my profile and was like, yeah, cool. We'll have her in for an audition. And that's how I got it.
Welcome back to Been There Done Chat. Today I've got Tanvi Virmani. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Tanvi is an actress, like an incredible actress. I think you're multi-talented, so intelligent. And when I first reached out to you, I think I said this before we recorded as well, is that this would be so nice for you to look back on when you're in Hollywood. It would be so cool, no, when you're doing like all these A-lists and red carpets and everything like that, because you've been in so many amazing things. You've been in, the West End, you've been in Life of Pi. I mean, I've known you since sixth form, and do you remember the Christmas pantomime?
Oh my God, that was
That
so.
You were so good. I co-directed and casted it. And I remember casting you because you came in for an audition and everything. And I think what I really noticed about you, even when auditioning you, is just how seriously you took it. And how, like, when you're acting, you're in the zone and like nothing can kind of distract you and everything. You take it so serious and you're just so good at acting. So first, I think my first question is just, when did you first get into acting or know you wanted to, be on stage?
Well, I was always part of like the drama club, like out of school, drama club when I was like 8. But I wanted to be a journalist for like a lot of like my secondary school years. Then I did the Lambda exams. There's like these graded, like, how like piano exams. I did that, but for
Yeah.
acting. And then I had this teacher called Patricia, and she helped me with my National Youth Theatre audition. And then I got into that the summer of year 12. So that's when I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. And there was this one specific exercise that we did, which really made me realize, oh, this is what I want to do. And we just had to like sit. We had to pick a song and sit in our bedroom, pretend that we were in our bedrooms and just sit and listen to it. And there was like 15, 20 people just sat there watching us, sat on our own, just taking up the space. And I really enjoyed that exercise. And that was just a massive opening for me. And then I went back to school in year 13, realized I didn't want to be a journalist. I didn't want to go to university yet or any of that. So then I applied for drama school and I got into a foundation.
Oh my God, amazing.
Deferred my university entry because I was like, let me just defer it.
Yeah, because I remember you applying, if I remember properly. Because yeah. Is that why you did economics as well? Because you wanted to be a journalist? Yeah.
Was that the only thing we did together?
Yeah, I was so quiet in economics. Do you remember? It was crazy because my friends were like, in maths, I was so loud. I was like the class clown. And then in economics, I was so quiet. It was like such a contrast. It was so weird.
We were sat next to each other.
Yeah, we were sat next to each other. Do you remember? That's how I met you.
I don't remember where you were sat. Were you to the...
We were in the back row. And it was Eshna, you, then me. Do you remember? Yeah. You mentioned you were always in drama school. When was the first time you actually went? Sorry, not drama school, a drama club outside of school.
I think I must have been about 8. And then I would have gone for like a year and then I stopped. And then I rejoined when I was 12. And I did this production. It was Wokium Youth Theatre. I played this French like magical ethereal guy of life and death, and I absolutely loved it. I did like a French accent, probably not very good, and everything.
That's so funny.
And she's very, very eccentric, and I just loved it. I really.
Do you have to get trained in like acting, like accents and stuff?
Yeah.
So cool. Oh my God. What was it? Like, did you ask your parents you wanted to go into, or did they like put it? Because I know a lot of my friends, their parents, they kind of put them in stage coaching just solely for like confidence boosting and stage fright and things like that.
No, I think my mom just put me in it. I didn't ask for anything. She always put me in loads of things growing up. Like I would always have something after school. I love
that because it helps you figure out your passion as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it was nice because she was always pushed me, obviously academically, but also like in an arts based or music based, or like we did ice skating for a bit as well.
Yeah.
There was always emphasis on like the extracurricular activities.
No, I love that. I remember how academic you were. So smart. Oh my gosh, so smart. Yeah.
Looking back, I didn't feel it.
You just got it straight away. That's why I say you're multi-talented. Yeah, you just understood the concept straight away. Like all your essays were great, and then also outside of school, you had all these activities and stuff going on, and you were so confident. I was just like, this girl, she's amazing.
Looking back on that, like especially year 13, it feels like a lot, but I remember at the time because I just enjoyed like doing all different things. That it didn't feel like a lot, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
When you said you were applying for drama school, how did that go about? Because obviously, we went to a grammar school where there was so much emphasis on academics and no one was really doing this at all, to be honest. I think only one or two girls did an apprenticeship. Everyone else was university.
Yeah.
And so you were doing something a little bit different. Like, how did that feel at the time?
It didn't feel anything different for me at the time. It was very tricky with a certain couple of teachers. I'd find the balance between going and doing something so like something that I enjoy, and it was always such like an open um environment at the drama school auditions, and then going where like I'd be judged by the teacher.
Adding on to that, obviously, like your parents are backing you from the start and everything. I was going to ask you, obviously, being of like Indian heritage, it's not
Yeah.
in the norm for Indian parents to kind of back you in doing something that's, I don't want to say non-academic, because I think acting is quite academic, to be honest. It's like so much that goes into it people don't understand. But what was it like, having your parents back you, being of Indian heritage? Like, were they ever skeptical? Were they ever a little bit like, no, maybe you should do this to back up things or whatever?
I think it was when, I mean, obviously they always pushed academically, but they've always backed me. And I think it was when I got into NYT, they were like, okay, she wants this and she's clearly doing the work.
Yeah,
And if she does the work and she wants it, what more can we ask for?
I love that.
As long as she's putting the work in. And they have fully backed me. They have come to all of my first shows for every single show, like all the
Oh,
drama school shows, all of the ones outside, like they have come to the opening night for every single one. And my mum has helped me like run lines. Yeah, they've been really supportive. And even when I've like failed at times and stuff hasn't gone well, I'll like call my mum up crying. She'd be like, "Listen, it's okay.
that's
You can like,"
amazing.
and it's just yeah, they've been really supportive. Yeah.
That's so nice. What about your little sister? Does she want to get into this as well?
No, she is at Bristol Uni.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
both in Bristol. She's doing economics and politics.
Oh,
So
amazing.
she's kind of going
Amazing.
towards my dad's route.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
She's on a placement now, and she's in the finance sector at Johnson and Johnson
Oh,
doing a placement.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, she's smashing it. Look at
But
you.
even she, like, she's been so supportive as well. Like
That's so
my
nice.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I had Rita Cowles on my show about 2 weeks ago, and she was saying how we were talking about how underrated it is to have your parents back you in things like this. Because I
Mm,
think, when you don't have that, it can be really, really hard. Because she was saying, I think,
yeah.
a lot of people that I know, their parents don't really back them in sort of things like this, but they still keep persevering, which I think is important.
Yeah. I
Crazy.
remember the head of sixth form actually, because I was obviously leaving school quite a lot to do the drama school auditions.
Mm.
She sat me down, and
Oh,
one of my subject teachers was there, and she told me, she was like, if you were going to study acting and something that wasn't realistic and wasn't practical, you should not have come to this school in the first place. Yeah. And I remember that subject teacher was also there, and I was there like trying to hold back tears, and that subject teacher was there and she was laughing at me.
oh my God, what?
Yeah. And that was word for word what she said.
And she was
And
laughing at you, the other teacher.
the subject teacher was, yeah, there were two of them. I remember I'd come in late for some classes because I would have just come in from London from doing an audition that morning.
That's a
And I
flex.
remember I'd walk in and they'd look at me and they'd roll their eyes and then continue. I remember there was one specific teacher that would do that. And I feel sorry because I think that school needs the arts and needs drama, and they need to like expand that department more because it's so important for teamwork. It's so, even if you don't want to go into it and you want to do something more academic, it's so important because it's about listening to people, it's about working with people, it's about leading people. It's not, and I think it's such an important skill for people that aren't even going into drama to have.
I was also going to ask you, obviously, like I said, you came to our school in sixth form, a grammar school. Before, was it a comprehensive
Yeah,
school?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So what
yeah.
was the drama like there compared? Because I mean,
It
obviously,
was,
sixth form and secondary school is different anyway, but what was the vibe you could get that was
oh,
different?
it was amazing. We had
Oh,
about,
I could see the
I think
smile on your
about,
face. The
oh,
smile
it
on
was
your
just,
face.
yeah. We did like school shows, and I just remember the atmosphere in the drama in our classes were just brilliant. We do like we did Curious Incident. How do I remember all this stuff? I don't remember. Anyways, we did Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. We did a bit of Michael Mapergo. We did
Oh,
War.
amazing.
Like we did loads of different things, and we would like devise our own stuff. And we did. I think we did Oliver for
Wait, you
our
acted these things? You were doing
yeah
like shows? Oh my gosh.
yeah. We did like and we
We just
did
study the books. That's all we'd do.
yeah.
We'd never.
It's just it's yeah yeah, it was so fun. I mean, I remember when we were doing Oliver, that was so much fun, and everyone was so up for it. And we had, I don't know, we had at least two drama classes, so that would have been about 60 people,
Oh
50, 60.
wow, wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah, it was a lovely, lovely environment. But I think yeah, I am happy I went. I think I learned a lot from there. And I think because drama wasn't really a thing there, it was helpful that I did a foundation course and then did a degree, if that makes sense, because then the foundation was a
Right.
nice bridge um between doing like academic subjects at A level to then studying like drama full time for
Yeah.
3 years. So the foundation was a nice bridge
So where was
for
it that you
me.
went to uni then? It was BOVTS?
The 3 year course, Bristol Vic Theatre School
Yeah.
in Bristol.
So was
It
that why
was
you did the
so
foundation year and then the 3 years?
yeah.
How was that?
Oh no, I did the foundation at RADA and then I did
Okay.
um 3 year at Bristol. Bristol was so fun. It was, I think everyone in our year was also so supportive and so lovely. It was just a nice place to make mistakes, to learn, and everyone was there supporting and would like help you try again and be yeah, it was just lovely. It's
That's
just a
so
nice group
cool.
of people, and you need
Yeah.
that in the
You
drama school.
really
You need
do. That's so underrated. People don't understand. Having
so yeah.
supportive, positive
Oh
people around you.
yeah. It
That's
was
so
not like opening night of Pi was crazy because I think I walked out the stage door and there was I think there must have been half my year there
Oh
on
my
that one
gosh.
night.
We're
That
on the
someone
stage or coming to support you.
were coming to support me
Oh yeah,
and
I
just
saw videos on your
what
Instagram.
yeah,
That
it
is
was
so
crazy.
nice.
And I think some of them came one a friend of mine came from Wales, or another friend came from Manchester. It was nuts. Another friend came from like Carlisle. It was crazy. And it was so
Oh
nice
my
to
gosh,
have
that's so
everyone just
nice.
just to see the show. And it was everyone is so supportive of everyone and it's just so lovely and
No, of course.
healthy.
Speaking of Life of Pi, how did that come about? Because that is incredible. So cool.
It was funny because I was rehearsing for The Tempest when I went to audition for Pi.
Where was this? Like, was
And
this at uni? Were you getting these opportunities from uni?
what the as in the auditions.
Yeah, like The Tempest, Life of Pi, all of this stuff.
Oh no, I have an all actors have an acting agent,
Oh
and
yeah,
that
right.
person gets the auditions for you. So
Mm.
my agent got me an audition for Life of Pi,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
was stoked just to get the audition because I loved the film. I think I'd literally watched the film for the bazillionth time, like 2 months before, and
Oh my God, you manifested it.
and it's been my Pondicherry, which is where it's set, has been my WhatsApp background screen for
No
about since I was
way.
about 15, 14, yeah, because I just always wanted to go there because of Life of Pi. And there was just so many moments where I was like, oh my God. And I remember in year 8, I'd be in English class and I would just sit there and like daydream. And I remember to the left of me, there would be a poster of Life of Pi. And I would just watch it and I'd just look at it and be like, wow, Life of Pi. And it would, yeah, I know.
Oh my God. This is like
There'd
a
be like
proper vision
literally
board thing throughout your whole life,
yeah,
basically. Oh my
yeah.
God.
So then I did the audition and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. This might be the only time because I auditioned for Pi's sister, but then I was also understudying Pi, so I had to read in for Pi as well.
Right.
When it got to Pi, I was like, oh my God, I get to
Oh
even
my,
read for Pi. I mean, what an amazing opportunity. So I was like,
oh
this could
my
be
God.
the only time I play Pi. It is such an amazing role, and Lolita, the writer, has written it so well. I was like, I'm just going to go for it because it's probably it could be the last time I ever do it.
Oh
So
my
it was so much fun.
That is
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
When your agent first told you, what were you thinking? Were you literally just like, what was your reaction?
What when she told me about
Yeah,
I
when she
got
was
the
like, "Hey, we've got a role for Life of Pi. Like, do you want to come on an audition?"
oh, I was so happy. I was so happy. I called my best friend and I was like, oh my God, I got an audition for Life
Oh
of
my
Pi. And he was like, "Oh my god!" And he was like, he couldn't even fathom what would happen if I got it. I remember.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and I was like, "And it's for the understudy pie." And he was like, "Oh my!" I remember his words were, "If you get to play pie, I would combust." that was a specific. It's mad how you remember these things. I was coming out of rehearsals for The Tempest, and my agent, she texted me. She said, "Offer on Life of Pi," and I was like, but I did not get my hopes up because I was like, what? So then I just sent her a text back saying offer question mark.
Oh my God, that's
And then I
because you don't want to
called her.
get too excited just in
No,
case.
I was like, maybe it's just an offer for the next round.
Oh
I
my
was like, I
God.
didn't want to. And then she called me, and I remember I just like I just doubled over on the pavement. I was like, oh, there's this girl. And I was going crazy
Oh
on
my
my own.
God. That is so
And
cool. What
then
was your parents' reaction, your sister?
they couldn't believe it. They were
Oh
so
my
well. They
God.
could. They were just like,
They're like, oh, we knew it, of
my mum,
course.
my sister was my sister. I called my sister, and she was like, "No, I didn't. I texted my sister. She got it, and then she just like she said that she had to like just stare at her laptop in her office for a bit, and she just to like fully comprehend what had just happened. She was just there like,
Oh my God, that
and then
is.
and then on her way back, she called me back, and she was like, and then and I called my friend who I told as well about the audition, and he just kept saying, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god,"
Oh
and
my
then my
God, I
mum
can't
was,
imagine how
yeah,
amazing that feels.
it was lovely, and I'm so grateful to have done it, and I've learned so much over that show, and yeah, to have done it so early on is just
I
I
know.
feel like
At
a God was.
2022. Wait, you're soon 23. When's your birthday? 20. No, don't tell me
I
your birthday.
turned
Don't tell me
20.
how. Don't tell me your birthday. You turned it already.
Yeah.
20th or 21st or 19th. It's one of the three. No, it's not. I've got it
Oh,
wrong.
of
When's your
what?
birthday? I know it's January.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah, it's the
But
eighth.
it's the 8th. No, it's
Yeah,
not. No, it's not. I wished
eighth.
you. I did wish
Yeah, you
you.
did. You
Yes.
did.
Oh my God, I don't know where my brain's
Yours is
going.
next month, right?
Yeah.
Is that Aquarius?
Yeah, Aquarius, yeah. You're Capricorn, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Capricorns. God. I mean, you briefly mentioned about learning. So like before you tell me what you've like learned in Life of Pi,
Mm.
in general, I think people don't understand how much goes into acting and people see it as not academic at all, but there's actually so much that goes into it. There's so many, people were telling me about different types of acting. Sorry, what were the misconceptions as well about acting? Like people just think of it, oh no, anyone can just act, but there's so much that you have to learn and goes into it.
That's such a good question. This is such a good question. It's funny because sometimes when I like after a show, they'd be like, "Oh wow, how did you learn all those lines?"
Yeah.
I'd be like, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's like 5% of the work, learning the lines. Everything else
Really?
is
Yeah. You'd think
that's
that's
like
like the biggest part.
no, no, not at all. Like that's the like bare minimum is to
Mm.
know your lines on stage. So yeah, I think it was like there's so much of like blocking, understanding your relationship with the person, understanding where you need to like your relationship throughout the play. For Pi, there was so much of movement in there as well that you also have to
Mm.
like knuckle down on and get right. And yeah, there's making sure that your voice also projects and reaches everyone if you're in a big space, even if you're in a little space, making sure that even when you or a big, I mean, making sure that when you whisper or when you talk quietly, it's still audible for everyone to hear. There's so many um, different types, and the lines are
Mm.
like just a little section of a very big, a very long and fun process.
Yeah.
But and then was it the different types of acting?
Yeah, like there's obviously, I think method acting is one thing.
Oh,
Different types
oh
of acting,
yeah,
so many different types.
yeah, as in like different ways, different like processes to
Yeah,
get.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of don't really advocate for method acting because it's not safe and not
Right.
healthy.
Mm.
But we learn different ways. We learn like there's this method called Stanislavski where you like write, which is all about the person's backstory,
Right.
your character's backstory, and what they've been doing all before the show, and your given circumstances. And then there's also Meisner, which my friend really likes, which is all about the other person. You just react off instincts. And there's just different ways, but I think also it depends on the style of play that you're doing. So like with the Tempest, when I did that, or with Shakespeare, my way of going about it is first like transcribing the text and putting it into my own words, because I wouldn't naturally speak like that. So understanding how I would naturally say it, and then put that into the Shakespearean language, and then also like marking the beats. What words did Shakespeare intend to be emphasized? Inflections, like with Shakespeare, you always want to go up at the end of a line, not drop your words. So like always going up and practicing that, and knowing when, maybe are there any times when he drops at the end of the lines. There's so many things. And then like there's another style like Chekhov, or which is like a Russian drama, which is a lot more like everyone says how they feel. There's like there's very little subtext. You just say it, and you show when you're happy, you're absolutely ecstatic, and when you're sad, it's like the worst thing. A completely different style to say contemporary text, where like there's always some subtext going on, and other meaning behind the text. And yeah, so it depends on the different types of plays and different processes for different types. So my process for The Tempest was completely different to not completely, but I had to add and change a couple of more things to my process for Rani, this Pie sister, and also playing Pie.
So were both of those on stage? So they were both, so cool.
Tempest was my first professional show.
Right.
Pie was my second.
When was The Tempest?
Tempest was July and August.
Oh,
I did. It was so fun.
Oh
it was
my
so
God.
Fun.
Does anyone help you through that process?
The director, and like the way that I do it is I just like prep outside of the room, and then I come into the room, bring some choices, bring some like go off instincts and see what happens.
Right.
So but obviously the directors that I've worked with have all been lovely and have been open to me messaging them outside of the rehearsal room if I have any questions. Or and then you have like the stage managers and the crew, who are also amazing, and they organize like props, queuing, and then you have the lighting people that will also help you, and you can know like when is the right. Do you have to wait for a lighting cue to come on and then say your line, wait for a sound cue and then come on and say? There's all sorts of, so there's everyone, and obviously the people that you're working with, the other actors, like they will kind of help each other in scenes to find an end product that's comfortable for you both. There's a whole amazing team, and that's also why I love theatre, is because it's like you actually feel like a family. And with Pie, I mean, we were there 6 days a week for 5.5 months.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
Straight, like, and they become your family, and you spend so much time with them. And even for Tempest, that was 6 days a week for a month and a half. Like you become really close with them because you're just always around, and it becomes like a family. And you go for meals, or you go to the pub together, and you'd hang out in between shows. And
Yeah, I remember when we were trying to like get schedules in for like recording this podcast, you were saying, you were telling me how every day this is the only basically day that you've kind of got off in a way, because the rest of the days you're doing 10 to 6 every day. Yeah. And I was thinking, how does she not get exhausted? But I love it. I respect the hustle so much. I love it.
I think it's because like I love it so much and I'm so grateful to have a job, and to have the opportunity to perform and to play, and with such wonderful people that I'm just so grateful and so honored that I don't think I'm in a position at all to complain, and I don't feel the need to, because I think when we were messaging, that was when I was rehearsing for this play that I'm doing now.
Right, yeah.
And
are you able to tell us anything about that, or no? Secret? Huh? Is it a secret?
No, you can't. It opens tomorrow, so it's quite.
Oh my God, amazing!
Yeah, so I was rehearsing for that in the day, and then performing Pie in the evening. So it was like there was no time but today's my first. Yeah, today is my day off. So.
Oh my God. Thank you for your time though this day. I won't take up too much.
No, it's fine. I mean, I have the day, so it's lovely. It's such an honor to be able to do what I do, and on such great shows that I love, and with people that I love. That it's just I don't feel it as like, oh my God, I'm working like with A-levels, where I was like, oh.
It's a drag. But this is like, because you enjoy it, you're obviously going to want to do it all the time. Honestly, that makes me so happy that you're doing what you love. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And getting money out of it as well, which is great. Which is so nice.
Yeah.
How do you go about getting an agent? So obviously you were with a drama school. Did they do it for you?
So you train for 2 years, and then you do public, and then you do shows that anyone can see in your third year, and you invite agents. We all have to invite
Right.
agents to see those shows, and then I think most of our year, me included, we got agents. Some people got. I don't know if anyone got picked up through any of the third year shows though. I don't know, but I know most of us got picked up through the showcase, the acting showcase that we do. So we go to London from Bristol, and we have to pick a monologue and a duologue partner. And you
Right.
just sit on chairs, and then you get up and you perform a monologue and you perform a duologue in front of agents that the either you have invited or the school have invited, and they just come and watch you do your showcase, and then you just go from there.
How do you go about getting them? Do you just go on LinkedIn or something like that?
Oh no, you just Google. So you're
Oh,
just like,
right.
you could go on like someone's, we have Spotlight, which is where you see everyone's, all the actors and CVs. So
Mm.
you just, I don't really know how to, everyone know, like, people throughout my time at drama school, I knew more about agencies. So I'd like go on the agency websites or go on like performers websites that I enjoy and see what agency they're with. Then I'll go to the agency website, and then I'll look at the agents, and you can see who the clients that they've got. And
Right.
if you like any of the clients, then that's how I went about it. And I think how most people go about it. If you like the clients that they have, then you email them.
Oh my God, amazing. I know somebody personally, I'm not going to say who, but basically
Yeah.
she originally wanted to kind of get into acting, but the only thought in her head is, I should have started earlier. I'm 22. How can I
Really?
start now? Yeah. She thinks
No.
she's too old. She was like, I could never ever be. I need to be on a stage. I really want to. And now she's actually got to a point where she's basically given up and she's like, it's not going to happen. I'm too old. And I keep telling her, it's never ever too late. Like, she's like, I've never done drama growing up. I've never been to a drama school. I've not done anything to do with, that kind of stuff. I've just paid for a couple of acting lessons here and there over the last summer. So, in her opinion, she thinks that it's too late. And she sees all these actors, in big movies and things. And she's always like, you go on their Wikipedia, they've started at 16, they've started it when they were since a little child, or in their really, really, really early 20s, maybe just turning 20. So what advice would you have for someone who thinks it's too late?
Well, Riz Ahmed went to university, and then he went to drama school. So he would have been about our age
Yeah.
when he was in first year. And look
Yeah.
where he is now. So he kind
Yeah.
of started on late as well. Like, and
Yeah.
he's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
he's got like an Oscar nomination. And I know he's won an Oscar.
Yeah, he
So it's like,
has.
yeah, for his short film. So it's like, it's never too late. That's the lovely thing about acting as well, is that it's timeless, because you just go along with like your age. So even though I'm 23 right now, I'm playing a 15-year-old, and
Very
then
true.
when I'm 30, I can play, like, hopefully play like a 24-year-old. So there's always roles, that you
Yeah.
can, and or even if like you'll just play with what you get. It's I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
never too
what would you recommend to, like, where would you start then? Let's say, like,
late.
maybe you don't have the money for acting school, maybe, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you've not done any sort of experience. Where would you start? Because I think the main thing that I thought of was obviously the agent's really important, getting an agent, and the second of all, maybe having a show reel. So what would you
Yeah,
recommend to people who want to get into acting but they've never had any sort of experience, and they're just basically starting out as an adult or whenever?
I'd say there's this really good website called, or like a company called Monobox, and they do loads of like acting classes. Even if you Google acting classes in London, there will be some that will come up. I'd say just go for drama school. Like, it's never, I mean, it's not for everyone, but it's never too late to go for drama school. If anything, they want people that are more mature and more older, because then they see it as like you have life experience to draw from. Go for that. Or if that's not something that you want to do, go watch shows, see the stuff that you like about shows, maybe even like try and see it from like a critical point of view. Oh, I really like what they're doing, or maybe that's something that I can incorporate in my style. Watch interviews and how they go about prepping roles, and there's so many things that's available to do, like read plays. Yeah, just all of those things. But it's never ever too late. And I think almost the older you are, the better I find, anyway, that in my 23 years, that that
Baby.
the more mature you are, the more you can bring to the role, because you have that mental tenacity and mental, the most important skill in acting is instinct. And that's something that you can't really, the biggest skill is instinct, I
Right.
think. And going off that, and also self-belief, really, like that is
Oh
like
yeah.
that's something I found with Pi, because I
People
would have.
just say that. They're just like, oh, self, yeah, they don't understand how important it is.
It's so important. I remember, like, in my first Pi performance, when I played Pi, I was under the bed and I had this ration box and I was holding it and I was just shaking because I was so nervous. But I had to really talk to myself, and I was like, Tanvi, you can do this. You can get through the whole show, and not only get through it, you can do it. You can do it.
Of
And
course.
if I had gone in scared, and if I had, not believed that I could do it, you would be able to see it in the performance. As long as you believe, just trust yourself, I think. And I think that's also one of the biggest things I've learned from Pi, is that I just need to trust myself and realize that it is all doable. And
Mm.
there's nothing. My friend told me, I was talking to him and he was like, Tanvi, you are limitless. Everyone is limitless. Like, there's nothing that you can't do if you don't put your mind to it. And it sounds so basic, and
No,
it
but
also
it's
sounds
so
kind of wacky.
true. It's so
So
true.
true. It's so true, and that's helped me loads as well for this new show, because it's a two-person play. I've never done a two-person play before, and
Yeah.
it's in the round, so there's the audiences are all over, like, and I've never
Oh
done that before either.
wow. Yeah, because all I know, the main thing that people always say is whenever you're acting or on stage, you don't have your back to the audience. But in a round
Mm.
thing, a round
Yeah,
stage, you've got to like keep moving about. So that's a lot of movement acting as well, isn't there? I don't know if that's a
yeah,
term. Is that a term?
yeah, yeah, well, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a lot of and even like I was like, no, I can rehearse one play in the day, and then I can do a performance in the evening. I feel I'm going off in a bit of a tangent, but it's
No,
like
no.
it is doable. I can do
It,
it. Like
yeah.
my friend said, everyone is limitless, and I can do it. Like, there's nothing
Honestly.
that you can't do if you can't. I think for your friend as well, like, if she really wants to do it and she loves what she's doing, trust that will take her through,
Yeah.
and that she will do the work for it, and that will put her through. But I think just watching interviews, trying to get into plays, trying to Google research, like other, like, theatre companies,
Mm.
make friends with people in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned London. Do you think London is the place to be then if you want to get into acting? Do you think you should be in London?
It depends, because I think what was also really nice about training in Bristol was that it wasn't in London,
Yeah.
so I was able to, like, take a step away and just focus on it. It was just a nice, quiet atmosphere for me. I found it
Mm.
was, quite nice, and um, separate from London. So that then when I did move to London, it was still a novelty, and it was still. But I think some of my friends are in Bristol at the moment and are actors, and I think it depends. I think if training isn't an option, then I think London is a good place to be.
Right.
But Manchester's also got a great theatre scene as well.
Yeah, I love Manchester.
If she's like further up north, or like get your show reel and send that to agents.
Yeah.
Be like,
How
hey,
would you go
direct.
about making a showreel if you don't have that experience? Do you think you should maybe like Google a script and just record it in your bedroom? Do you think that's even possible?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like film like a self tape or something. I think
Yeah.
you can also get. I think so, because it was different for me because our school kind of did that for us.
Mm.
So and I haven't really used it. Um, but I don't really. But I mean, I think it's more about getting an agent. Like, that's the biggest thing, because
Yeah.
then they do most of the work of trying to find you auditions and trying to. I love my agent because she listens to me. Like, we kind of work together. Like, I tell her, like, stuff that I love. Like, I told her in our first meeting that we had, I was like, I really like Shakespeare, and my
Yeah.
goal one day, my goal is the Royal Shakespeare Company. And she was like, cool, cool, cool. And she listened to that, and it was mad how I got my Tempest audition, because the casting director approached my agent asking for someone else on her client list to audition for Miranda in the Tempest.
Right.
My agent was like, oh no, she's busy, she's doing a job. But I have this new girl, Tanvi, who, can you
I
let
know
her
I'm
audition?
crying. I'm actually tearing up. I don't know why.
Because
It's so
she listened,
warm.
she was like, she loves Shakespeare and she wants to do that more. Can she audition? And she listened to me, and she remembered that I love it. And yeah, and then the casting director looked at my profile and was like, yeah, cool, cool, we'll have her in for an audition. And that's how I got it.
That is
Because yeah, she's amazing. My
amazing.
agent is amazing. And she listens, and yeah. And that's another thing that I remember people in my year were like, oh, Tanvi, I'm so happy that your first professional role was in a Shakespeare play, because we know how much you love it, and how much you want to do that more than in the future. It was cool because the director had also worked at the RSC, and RSC, I mean, as in the Royal Shakespeare Company.
I think the main common theme that I've got throughout this entire episode is just how many people back you in every stage. So you've got your parents, you've got your sister, you've got obviously your other actors alongside you, you've got your agents, everyone. And that is so special. How does that make you feel?
I feel so blessed. I remember on my last show of Pi, I texted my mom and I was like, there is someone up there watching over me. Yeah, there's like a God up there that's like, Tanvi, we got you, girl. And I feel so grateful and so honored to have everyone, because there is no way I could do any of this without them. When I came out on my first performance of Pi, I saw my dad crying, and I think he's cried like, I've probably seen him cry like a handful of times, and that was also when I was like, all of that support that everyone has given me, and my other friends were crying because and I was like, that has all been, it feels like it's all been worth it, and I just, it was that day, the first day I went on as Pi is probably the best day of my life. Like,
I saw the video on your Instagram afterwards. Everybody backing you. I was like, this, it's amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I know as well that even if things don't go right after this show's over or something, everyone will be there for me, and they'll like, touch wood. They'll all be there for me, and they'll back me. And I found this letter, this thing I wrote on my notes page as well. I'm sidetracking. My brain goes,
what is it? No, what is it?
I got my first rejection from drama school, and I was on the train back, and I was like crying, obviously, as you do if it's your first rejection.
Yeah, of course.
And I wrote it, and I was like, right, now is the time to like, and this is what I say to your friend, just give it your all and see what happens. Don't expect I mean, it's good to have goals, but don't expect anything. Just all you can ask for is to give it your all and work hard and see what comes out of it. Because if you love what you're doing, even the work is worth it. And that's what I wrote in my notes.
I mean, I was going to ask you just in general, what is it like getting rejections? How do you deal with that? Do you get motivated by it? Do you get a little bit put down? Like, how do you feel? And tell me a little bit about your struggles as well. Because obviously you've had amazing opportunities and you've done so well. But there's going to be the times where, some people might have not given you an audition, or they might have said, sorry, we haven't given you this offer, or you have, like you said, you got rejected in your first drama school. How do you deal with that?
Well, that first rejection was really hard, because my first drama school rejection, because I think I had gotten to like the third or something round, and the guy came out and was like, these two people, he called out two names and was like, they're going through to the next round. And then he was like, can we also see Tanvi, please? Right. Can Tanvi come over here? And I was like, what's going on? So I walked over, and
it's giving X Factor. Do you know what I mean? It's giving X Factor.
And he was like, what school did you go to? I was like, I went to so-and-so school. And he was like, yeah, I know that school. I don't like that school. He's like, I can see what it's doing to you in your body. I can see the tension that it's giving, it's causing you, and the stress it's causing you. Is like, get out of that school, relieve, like feel a bit more calm, and come back and audition. And I was like,
I keep crying. It's not okay.
And then I had to go to the school the next day, and I was like, but that was really, really, really hard for me, because then I had to show. I remember that was in January, and I still had like 6 months left.
Was this year 13?
Year 13, yeah. And that was when I wrote on my notes app, I was like, you know what, there's not, and in this industry, there are things you can't control, and there are things that like, sometimes it's down to the way you look, sometimes it's down to just how you present yourself as a person, and if that matches the character. So I was like, there are things that are out of my control, which is what I realized in that audition. Like, I can't control that he knew the school and he knew what it was like.
Oh, so I see.
I was like, all I can do is just work and hold myself accountable for not giving up and just keeping on going. And I think rejection can be really, really tricky. I mean, I must have done about, you do like tens and sometimes even like hundreds of self-tapes before you can actually book a job. I mean, and self-tape there's usually like quite a few rounds to getting a job. And I remember for my Tempest audition was when I found out I got it, I was so happy, because I knew that I'd done everything I could for it, because I I got in, and then she was like, I did the tape. I got in and I did the audition, and she gave me the sides, the director, and I did the sides, and she was like, great, what other Shakespeare have you done? And I was like, oh, well, I did Juliet. And she was like, great. And just off the bat, she was like, can you do a Juliet monologue? And I was like, yeah, all right. So then I did it just off the bat without doing it for 5 months.
What, did you not have the script with you or anything?
No, I didn't have the script. I just looked through it quickly over my phone and then just did it. It's a challenge, you know. And then she's like, great. And then I did it, and then she reworked it, and we were just like working together on this monologue. And it got to Miranda, the part that I was auditioning for, and her note was, be original, make it your own. I can't really remember what I did, but I did something, and she was like, great, thank you. And she was like, you've worked hard today, you've done a lot of hard work in there. And I was like, cool. And then I left thinking, I have been challenged. I embraced the challenge, and I put in the work. So, you know, I was very happy. And then I got then another round of audition for that role. And she was like, what other Shakespeare have you done? I was like, I played Ophelia in Hamlet when I was 17, at, like, you know, just at the local theatre. And she was like, cool, can you do the mad scene for us? So then I did it off the bat, and I had my phone in my hand because that was, you know, like 5 years ago. So I did it. And then I remember she redirected me. And then I also had to do, after that, I did the speech, another one of the sides that I had to prep for The Tempest. And her redirection was, don't speak unless you want to, unless you fully find the need to speak. And I was just there. I was stood there. It felt like about 10 minutes, but it wasn't. I would have been stood there for about a minute, which is still quite a long time to just be stood there in silence until I felt the need to speak.
Right.
And say my lines. But she created such a open environment for me to take up the space and just stand there until I felt the need to speak and take her direction. So I'd done Juliet, Ophelia, and Miranda in the audition, and that's why when I found out I got it, I was like, oh. And it was another eye-opening moment for me where I was like, Tanvi, that was a fun audition. You had fun and you did the work and you were open to all of the notes that she gave you. And it was so fulfilling because I knew that I had done everything I could. Challenging. It was very challenging because I got asked off the bat just to do some speeches. But it was so much fun and so open. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to ask, like, what if you didn't have that Juliet before, or you didn't have Ophelia from Hamlet? What would you have done in that situation?
I would have probably said, "Oh, I don't have any Shakespeare experience." And then,
but would you have like requested for like a script or something?
Maybe I don't know, because I think it's quite hard to sight read Shakespeare without knowing.
No, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
But I think maybe I would have probably just explained that this is I haven't done any Shakespeare shows, but this is the first one I've done, and I'm just going off my instincts. I don't know. I can't speak for the director, but maybe we would have worked more on the speech. Maybe that would have been it. I'm not sure, but it's strange though, coming out of like security for 3 years at Bristol, because you know that you're there for 3 years, to then having to audition again. That was a strange shift, because we haven't really had to audition in the 3 years. Like
because you just got roles because you were there, right?
We're there, yeah. Like the last time we had to audition was to go to the school. So that was, you know, it was an interesting challenge and change. There's not really much security in the industry, but that's why it's so important to have a good support network. And even if it's just one person, that's all you need. I had one friend on The Tempest, my castmate, I think, because it was my first show. Everything was new to me, but he like guided me through it and really supported. And he was way more experienced than I was, way more experienced. Like he'd been on Broadway. He'd like done 2 years at the Royal Shakespeare Company. He'd done so much, but he was so humble and open to working with someone that had not done anything professionally and not done any and had way less experience, both even mentally and life experience wise, and in a professional sense. And he was open for me to ask questions about the industry and how you know, how to deal with different challenges that come your way. And he was just brilliant. And I even told him, I met with him like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I am so grateful that you were there on that process to help me and to support me, because there is no way that I would have been able to feel as confident or as comfortable in the room and make bold choices. And even if I do fuck up, like laugh about it and just get back up and try again. Like there's no way I would have been able to do that in The Tempest. And even now, if it wasn't for him, Pierro, shout out Pierro. And he's so good as well. And we had so much fun. And he came to see Life of Pi twice.
Okay, I mean, my next question to you then is, Pierro obviously saw something in you. So what do you think that was?
Oh, I don't know. He would have been like that with anyone. I think anyone, any other.
Don't say that. There's got to be something really that, you know, he saw in you.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But it was very, like, I would drive us from, because we were both living in Bristol and doing the show in Bath, and I would drive us both to Bath every day, and we'd just have like conversations about, you know, anything and everything. And I don't know. I think we just got along really well. We were also both on the same wavelength with our characters, because we were meant to play. Basically, I was playing. Do you know The Tempest?
Yeah. Shakespeare. Yeah. Not the story so much, but I know
it. So I was playing Miranda, who's the daughter, who's like, she's never really seen any humans before apart from her dad, and this monster that also lives on the island. And he was playing, and Pierro, his character, he gets involved in like a shipwreck, and he just lands on the island. And Miranda, it's the first time Miranda's ever seen a boy. She's 15.
Sounds like
the way you said that. Yeah, it's the first time she's ever seen a boy, and she falls in love like instantly. And then Ferdinand is reciprocated as well, and they're like, oh my God. But it's like really young love and very innocent. That's the way we played it.
Right.
We're like, oh, there's not much like touching or anything going on. And we were both on the same wavelength, that it was so innocent, and like how we felt about our characters, we were just both so on the same page. And I think, yeah, we just got along really well, which just helps so much. And he's been so supportive.
I think you also probably saw just your work ethic and how passionate you were about it. And when you do, like, I I'll never forget how you were on that stage during our Christmas pantomime in school. Like, just the way you took it so seriously. And like, I'd watch you and I'd be like, she's so in the zone. Like, no one can distract her from this. She's so into it. And
it's probably because in maths or economics, I was like,
I just thought, like, you just take it so seriously. And I really admired that about you. I've always said that, like, it's just incredible how you, like, how do you get into that zone? Like, what are you thinking when you're on the stage?
I think it's the adrenaline, to be honest, and I think it's the love for it.
I could see that even in the audition. I could see that. I auditioned. That's my biggest flex. I auditioned Tanvi Virmani.
I think it was just the love for it. I don't know what I love about it, but
you're so confident as well. Did you ever have stage fright or any sort of nerves or shy in front of people? Have you always been quite confident in front of a large audience? You were so confident, and I think that really stood out from the entire pantomime. It really stood out. I loved it. It was great.
I think it's just like owning it. I don't know. I think I can't really remember. Everyone has stage fright, but I think or like nerves. Not everyone has stage. Everyone has nerves. Or I don't know. I can't speak for everyone, but I think so. I mean, I have nerves before a show or before. That I think it's just converting that adrenaline or those nerves into excitement and into like passion for me. I find, and that
you could see the passion. You could see it. Incredible.
Yeah, and I think also because I was able to fight to like let loose in the school, because rather than like just doing the work and stuff, it was something new and something that I hadn't done yet in the school, that it was so much fun.
Do you have any like pre-stage rituals? So you say obviously you get a little bit of nerves. Do you have anything to deal with that, or do you have any funny rituals that you do?
Funny, I always say a prayer before I go on. I don't know if this is a bit counterintuitive, but it helps me. I don't really like to do like crazy warm-ups, because I feel like it just kind of calms me down, rather than I like to use the adrenaline to give me the energy. So I do like very basic warm-ups. I don't do like a really extensive one before my first show anyway. I listen to music. That's a big one. I listen to music. I did that for Pi. I got ready like 20 minutes before, which is very unlike me. Listen to music that would just psych me up to do the show. Or depending on whatever mood or environment I was going into in my first scene, I would listen to a playlist that would adhere to that. For Pi, it was just trying to get into, like, because she was 17, so trying to get that into like a very young kind of playlist, and like woman strong playlist, because I had to like do fights with the tiger and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I am woman. and then for Miranda, for The Tempest, it was because I had to come on running and screaming. Like, I had to like witness a shipwreck and like
right. Oh yeah.
So I had to just like get into like really. I think one of them was Imagine Dragons. Because they're like, Dad, like
yeah.
Like, oh my god, and it would just like psych me up. And for that though, because I had to run on scream and like try and get my breath up before I'd go on.
Of course. So you basically get into character before going on stage. That's how you, right?
Yeah, well, it's like prep. Yeah, I think that's yeah.
So obviously you that's your pre-ritual. Obviously you're on stage, like it's amazing. The passion comes through and you're in the zone and everything. I had Nadeem on my podcast a few weeks ago. So he's a singer, performer, songwriter. And he was talking about his experience. He did his first huge live show at the RNCM in Manchester in front of a big audience and everything. On stage, he was in the zone like you. And after he got off the stage, he said that the adrenaline and that kind of the nerves didn't really go in a negative way. So he basically had a panic attack as soon as he came off stage. So he had all these people coming to him and saying, oh, Nadeem, you did amazing. You did great. Like all his friends and family who came to watch him. And he just felt so overwhelmed. And he kind of, he didn't really feel, I was like, did you not feel like a relief? Like you finally did it. You got it. He was like, not at all. And he basically needed so much time to kind of recover from that. So did you experience anything like that? Or as soon as you get off stage, do you get that relief?
Oh, God.
Because he said he'd never experienced it before. It was really weird for him, he said.
Oh God, I hope he's found a way though to get. Yeah, there is an adrenaline rush, but for me, and it can take some time to get to sleep because you're still like, wired from. I didn't have that. I didn't have that experience though. Luckily, what was the question again?
Just like, have you ever experienced anything like what happens to you after stage? How are you feeling? Do you ever get that relief feeling, or do you kind of? Is there anything negative that you feel after? Is the adrenaline bad?
It depends on the performance and how I think the performance went. So if it went badly, then I would still have an adrenaline rush, but it would be kind of hard to like knock that out. But if it went well and I had friends there, I think it's just like an excited thing if it went well. But there are times when it's hard to sleep because it's hard to like get it to go down. But I think that's also a thing with doing with such a long show like Pi, doing it for so long, is that eventually the adrenaline wears off and you don't get an adrenaline rush every night because you do it 6 days a week, 8 shows.
So you're used to it, basically.
We're used to it, yeah. So it gets, but I think the first couple of ones were slightly tricky to just calm down. But, I think it was, yeah. The thing I realized with Pi was that I always wanted to play like South Asian roles, but I always didn't want to just be pigeonholed into that.
Right.
And I wanted to try out other things. I remember after some performances when I was Pi, there'd be like young little girls and sometimes little like brown girls that would be like, oh, they were like, I love them, blah, blah, blah. And there'd be like, there was this mum that was like, oh, are you going on again? I want to take my daughters to see it. Because
that's so nice.
And I think something big that I've learned from Pi is that I do want to play more South Asian women, because it's important for me to be able to play, those kinds of roles, but also important for people to see. Like if I was younger, I would absolutely love to see,
I was going to say that, yeah.
South. I mean, what a cool opportunity that the director and the writer, Lolita, and Lee, the associate director on Pi, have given me to be able to even have the mind to think, oh, Pi can be a woman, a tiger. A woman can train a tiger. And a woman is capable of, just as much as a man is, in the original story, of surviving on a lifeboat for 227 days. Like, she's capable of that. And it completely changed it having a woman there. It completely changed it because, women deal with trauma differently to men, and that's what someone, I didn't even realize I was what I was doing, but someone told me that, and she was like, the way that you dealt with it was the trauma was like very, very different to how like the who were amazing, Chirag and Nuwan, when they played Pi, they were absolutely amazing, and like how men would deal with it. And it was cool to see that. And even like what I'm saying in a really long way is I obviously want to play as many roles as possible, but I think it's really cool to be able to play well-written South Asian roles. And that's something that I have learned so much. And if the role is written well and I love it and it's South Asian, then I'm going to go for it. And self as well, be empowering. It was so empowering playing Pi.
I don't think people understand that you played Pi itself. Like you weren't, that's incredible.
So I was playing Pi's sister every night, but I was also understudying Pi. So I had a couple of performances when I was Pi. That was and playing Pi as a woman. So we had a gender swapped script.
Right.
So it'd be Miss Patel, not Mr. Patel.
Right.
And they'd be referring to Pi as a she. And I remember one of my castmates, her daughter came to watch it, and she was like, what I really liked about your show when she came to see Pi, she was like, was that they referred to her as a she. I like how they changed it from he to she. She was 8, I think. She's 8 or 9. And credit goes to Chirag and Nuwan, the other 2 Pis, for letting me have a shot at it, and also for being for making me feel comfortable to make it my own, and for being such amazing Pis to look up to.
How do you feel when little children and stuff come up to you and say that kind of stuff? That must be so fulfilling.
Yeah, it's not happened like loads of times, but even a couple of times it's happened, and it's just it's so, I think especially young girls, it's so, and young South Asian girls more than anything, it's kind of shocking, because I don't really see myself as that, and I didn't really see at the time. I just wanted to do the role well. I didn't see how
the impact it could have, the positive impact.
I didn't anticipate that it would that would happen, but it's made me want to like do more workshops in like drama workshops and lead drama workshops or work with drama workshops and nurture that talent that they have, because it's insane hearing that.
I mean, and even just having like you said, a South Asian role model to look up to. So for example, I've been listening to this podcast called A Millennial Mind by Shivani Powell since the start, since she started. She's obviously South Asian, she's Indian. And looking up to her, like I never really saw too many Indian podcasters, and looking up to her has inspired me so much. I was like, she can do it, I can do it as well. And it's incredible. So obviously that must feel amazing. And shout out to Shivani. She's incredible. She's smashing it right now. She's great. I'll send you her podcast. She's amazing. She's great. Yeah. So yeah, just looking at her, and obviously like, she's just followed her passion and she's done it as an Indian girl. It's amazing to look up to. And honestly, I feel like I'm trying to think of when I first started this podcast, it was all a bit of a blur, but I feel like she was probably one of the main people that I looked up to kind of push my own podcast to go, because she did look like me and she was Indian and everything. I think that's very underrated, how that feels. I don't think a lot of people get that, like seeing someone who, same heritage as you, if she can do it and you don't see it often, you can do it as well.
It's so cool. Send me that podcast.
I will, 100%. She's amazing. So great.
It is crazy, because it's like just something that's really inherently there. You don't plan to look up to that person, or you just it's just a different effect when you see someone up there. And I was just, there was this other girl that I was helping who was South Asian as well, and she was trying to get into drama school, and I was messaging her, like helping her, like trying to find, because she saw Pi. She saw me as a sister, and she was telling, because she saw the program, she's like, oh, I saw that you just finished drama school, and I'm looking to audition as well. And then I was like messaging her and helping her out, like with some monologues, and she's South Asian as well. And I think just seeing, I think it's just so important for people to see that, and see such a well-known role like Pi, but being swapped to being a woman. Like they've got the alternate Pi on Broadway now is a woman. So they've got the main Pi, because there's obviously a lot for someone to do 8 shows a week as Pi. So they've got so we have a main Pi and then an alternate Pi who does it two days a week minimum.
Yeah.
But So they've got the alternate Pi on Broadway is a woman. Like that's why Lolita is just amazing, the writer and the director, because I think it's such an out of the box idea, but also like, yeah, why not?
I was going to say, how did that idea come about? Who came up with that? Who thought, why don't we make it a girl as well? Why don't we make Pi a girl?
I think it must have just been the creative team. Lolita Chakrabarti, the writer, definitely obviously is part of that. And I'm
Mm.
not too sure, but and shout out to Payal, who originated the role that I played on Life of Pi, the sister. And
Mm.
then she was the first female Pi to ever go on
Oh my
stage.
gosh.
And I saw her do that as well. And I was like,
Right.
years, and I was messaging her, and it was amazing for me to see that as well. It was a play that wasn't just straight acting. There were
Mm.
the puppets were amazing. They were absolutely amazing. The puppeteers, and there was all of that, and there was so much movement, and I think it's just amazing to see.
You do so much on stage stuff. Would you ever go into, being on camera and film acting?
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I haven't really got. I don't think I've. No, I have no experience with that. We got trained in it a bit in Bristol, but I
Mm.
haven't done any TV stuff. Some of my friends have after graduating, but I've never done it. But yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that. There's something about I can't. Obviously, I haven't done it, so I don't know what the experience would be like. There's just something about theatre like that intimacy with having an audience there, which is just so it's just such an amazing feeling. And then I live with my friends from drama school. They're in my
Oh,
year.
that's so nice. So you've always got that energy around you, don't you? That's
Yeah, and
so
then
nice. I like that.
yeah, it's nice to come home and then have like your friends there and like just
No, of
and you just like
course.
catch up on your days and everything.
Yeah. It must keep you motivated as well because, you're all got the same sort of goals that you're all into acting,
Yeah.
things like that. So that's great.
Yeah, and we help each other out with self tapes and all
Oh,
of
that's
that.
so
It's really
nice. I mean, what can we expect from you in the future then? Obviously, you said you want to get into a little bit of film acting. Any other kind of West
yeah.
End stuff that you want to get on or?
I don't know. I don't really know what they're auditioning for at the moment on the West. I'm not sure what they're planning on. Hopefully, I don't know when that's going to happen. Even if it
Mm.
happens in 20 years, I will die happy if I get a spot at the Royal
Of
Shakespeare
course
Company.
it will, of course. When is your next live performance? Because I wasn't able to come to the last one. I had exams.
Next one is
Mm.
I hope they went
Yeah.
well.
Mm.
The next one is well, we open tomorrow and it's on until the 4th of February. It's called 2 Billion Beats and it's about
Amazing.
these two sisters. Well, I'm playing the younger sister and she's being bullied on the bus. She's 15 years old.
Right.
She's being bullied on the bus and she turns to her sister and asks her sister to help her out. And the sister's like, no. And that's the
Mm.
other girl. And the sister is applying for university and trying to figure out like essays to write, and she's trying to figure out where she stands politically, and she's writing an essay about Sylvia Pankhurst and standing up for women's rights.
Mm.
And then my sister's like, you're my character's like, you're like doing all this stuff for women's rights and you're writing about them, but why won't you help me? It's a really cool play. It's the
Oh, amazing.
South Asian card, just the two of us.
I was going to ask you about diversity. Sorry, I forgot to ask you earlier, but I mean, were there was it quite diverse in your university?
I'd say the industry is very white, yeah.
Mm.
But they're looking and they're pushing. There's obviously loads more work that needs to be done. My year there was 9 of us out of 28.
Right. None of in South Asian people.
No, there was 3 South Asians. One girl was half Japanese, and then 5 black mixed race.
Right.
So it was, yeah, there was that. But I think post BLM, there's been a change. There still needs to be a lot more, and that was the wonderful thing about Pi was that because I personally sometimes feel, oh God, did I just get into drama school because there was a tick box and it just was blah, blah, blah. But that was just the brilliant thing about Pi. It's like it's a South Asian cast, but it's a good
Right.
show.
So I'm here for my talent,
So
not because of.
yeah, and that was what was so wonderful.
One of my last questions is like, obviously, a lot of people our age, they're in 9 to 5s, right? So it's very stable. It's very much, exactly the money you're getting every month. Every day is
Yeah.
pretty much you've got a routine. What is it like being an actor? It's quite, flexible. Every day is different. Do you like that? Or do you have any struggles with that? Or is it like more positives than negatives?
Well, that's the thing about when this show's over is that I have nothing after the show. So I'm back to auditioning after, being in work for 9 months. which is the
Right.
crazy. So I think it's something that I'm gonna have to see how that goes. And again, though, like everyone, I have a really good support network around
Yeah, of
me. And
course.
I've learned so much about myself in these past shows that I've done. So I'm
Mm.
hoping that will carry me through it. And it is tricky, and it will be tricky, and it will be a completely different change to not working, because I've been on 6-day week minimum since the middle of May.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
yeah,
What,
it
like
sounds
straight, like no breaks?
no,
Oh my
because
God. That's
I had a
almost a
day break.
year.
Yeah, I had a day break between Tempest and Pi, and then I
Whoa.
had an overlap between 2 billion beats and Pi, where I was rehearsing and then performing in the night. It will be a big change for me when this show is over, going from one intensity to another, where it's just not there's nothing.
I mean, you just got to
But
keep pushing though, isn't it? That's where the
exactly,
passion comes in.
and that's just the nature of the beast, is that you can. I remember I was speaking to someone in my cast in Pi about it. I was like, that's it's mad. He was on the West End for like 3 years straight,
Mm,
no break, but he still had to audition for stuff. And I was like, it's
right.
crazy that you're still having to audition after being. But that's just the way it is, and that's just something that, again, like everyone that's in this industry loves it, really,
Mm.
really, really loves it, and they're willing to sacrifice that and sacrifice job security just for that. And that's also, it's made me have a newfound, I mean, I always had an appreciation for it and I was always grateful for it, but it's a completely different level that I have now when I'm in the rehearsal room, or tomorrow when I'll be performing, which is like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to be doing a new show is. Give it my all, and I think that kind of mindset, I'm hoping will help me.
Of course it will. My gosh. Would you ever go to America? Would you ever do Hollywood?
I don't know. I need to brush up on my American accent.
I forgot your answer to like rejection. So how do you deal with that?
I think just having a good support network, not stopping,
Yeah.
just remembering the love and the passion for it,
Yeah.
and just kind of like what I said in my notes app when I got rejected from Central. I'm just going to give it my all and see what happens. And if
Mm.
I get rejected, fine, but that's not going to stop me. I'm just going to keep going, I think.
You know what a really like key moment from this episode that you said was that moment where, you were under your bed and you were just like, Tanvi, you can do this. Why are you freaking out?
Yeah,
What's going on? I think I watched a video, one of my favorite YouTubers, the Wizard Liz, and she basically said you have to change your mentality with those things. So for example, you're scared to do a job interview. They wouldn't have brought you in the room if you weren't
exactly.
qualified. I'm scared to
Yeah,
perform in front of this audience. They're here to watch me. So I'm going to give
yeah.
them a
My proudest moment was probably after my first performance, as when I played Pi, and I came out and I saw my friends and they all looked really proud, and my dad looked proud and my mom looked proud, and because also that was on my mom's birthday, my first performance. So
Oh, that's so lovely. What a nice birthday present for your mum.
I'd say, actually no, I'm going to change my answer. So my proudest moment was my mom saying that she was proud, I think, after my Pi performance. Well, I'm going traveling
Oh, amazing.
for a bit next month.
What, a bit of Bollywood? Can we expect you in Bollywood
No,
movies?
God, I can't really imagine. Keep an eye out. I'd say, because I
Okay.
have
All right. Yeah.
plans.
I'll put all your
Um,
details in the description of
yeah,
wherever anyone's watching or listening to this.
there's the
Cool.
Orange Tree, the show at the Orange Tree, and
Though I don't think I can come to that one because I've got an interview up until the 4th and then my friend's coming over
oh no, don't worry
for
about
like a
that.
week. So the
Okay,
next
yeah,
one, I'll be at the next one.
okay, cool, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I'll
that's okay.
I'll message you about it. Yeah,
That's
thank you so much for coming onto my podcast. It's been an honor, honestly, and I'm so excited for your future.
Oh,
So
thank you.
excited.
Thank
You've
you.
been
So nice to see you.
so good to see you. I know we'll catch up properly, like in real
Yes,
life
yes.
soon. It's been amazing. Like I've always said this to everybody, like how much I admire. Like I don't know why, but that pantomime performance is just so significant because that's the only time I've properly seen you act. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like in real life, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
that's true actually.
yeah, the way you like took up the stage and just well done for everything. And I think your passion is just so admirable and how seriously you take it. And you didn't let haters get in the way. You've just persevered. And I think it's so special that you've got such a nice network and people around you. I think that's amazing.
Thanks, Garima.
I end it so badly always. No, but I'll leave your, details in the description if you ever want to message Tanvi about any questions, or I'm sure you'll be happy to help out whatever.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.